All right. Oh my gosh. We're live. Hilarious. I never hit the live button. You guys, I didn't mean for you to like. Was I picking my nose? I mean, gosh. I was programming piano. Can you hear? What's it sound like? Because I totally changed what I'm doing here. It's so funny. They got rid of the button to start the stream. So as soon as I clicked on stream, it started streaming. It was like, are you kidding me? It's so weird. Okay, so what I've done here, so does it sound, the guitar sounds like, you can hear the gain, right? What I was, I never go back and watch the live streams. Oh, by the way, I'm not endorsing Rev products. They gave me this shirt at the NAMM show. I probably shouldn't wear this. I mean, not that they're not good products. I just so you know, it's not like a paid endorsement or anything like that. I guess unless you include getting paid in a T-shirt endorsement. I didn't even listen to their product. So what I'm doing, yeah, 'cause what I was realizing was that you guys are getting like just, it sounded like a direct guitar with no tone or anything like that on those videos. And I'm like, really? And I went back and was like not convinced that you're getting it. So what I'm doing is, instead of using this mic, I'm using the mic on the iMac, the built-in microphone, and I'll try to keep tabs on in the OBS software and make sure. I had to turn down the volume because it ironically, it's like, yeah, see, you can hear the, ironically, it's louder than going through the microphone and everything. So the weird thing was, even though I was going through the apogee, it was taking the direct signal. So if I could choose audio input, see, I don't want to mess with it now. But what I want to be able to do is maybe take the, see, I can't do that though. I was gonna say take the output of the apogee, because then it would be my guitar tone. But the problem is I'd have to run the microphone through it. And if I wanted to hear the guitar tone, I'd have to put it through the speakers, but then the microphone would be going through the speakers too. So I need to figure out a way to route it so you guys can get the best possible sound. I apologize for all this. But I was just kind of messing around trying to create a vibey, to practice this, the new scale. I'm wondering. Okay, so the guitar is very quiet. Is it? Is it? Well, I do have a little reverb on it, a little gain, but it should be getting from the microphone. Sorry, I don't understand Russian. Let's see. Hopefully that's not a curse word in Russian. Yeah, you might want to translate that, or we'll have to block you. Michael. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Michael Neal. You're new. All right. Well, let me say hellos. You guys can hear me okay though. There's such a lag. Oh, Harry Styles, nice to see you, man. Bob Schumann, Diane is here. Oh, dang it. What did I have a story yesterday? And I went, oh, that would be a good story for the... Oh, dang it. Okay, hopefully, Diane, I'll think of it. Frank, so... Now, I get that it might sound a little bit roomy because the microphone, I'm not even sure where it is on this computer. I'm assuming it's on the front somewhere, probably right where the microphone, or right where the camera is. And the speaker's over here, and it's kind of aiming this way. But I don't. What I don't want is I don't want it to clip the OBS. And I can turn down the reverb. The reverb's more for me. And the delay is barely there. And remember when I was talking about getting in the zone? That's one of the things you got to learn to do. Like I said, get a tone you like, and that'll help you play better in the zone. Okay, I don't think that microphone's even coming into play. Get a tone that you like. Oh, I need to turn on the light. And then, also, one of the things I will do is I will add reverb and delay just because it just makes the sound a little bit more forgiving and a little bit more, rock star godlike. So I tend to play better. Now, what I may do is when I'm tracking, I may use a lot of gain, delay, reverb, things like that, and then tone it all down or even mute it when I bounce the tracks to the producers. Okay, I'm not sure what you're asking me, but that's a chord progression. And the chord progression I was playing over was basically just C for like 4 bars, and then A minor for 2 and F for 2. That was basically what that was. Let me tune also, if I have a tuner around. So we're going to work on this new scale, and this is pentatonic number 3. I kind of consider it the worst of the pentatonics. One of the reasons it's one of the worst is because it has 2 blues or 2 major roots. There's the C's, and I can make this a little bit bigger. Like that. And then it's weird because those colored dots are actually the same size as the black ones, but they look smaller. It's an optical illusion. And those are the minor roots, the A's, and those would be also considered the blues roots. So you can see we only have 2 of each of those in this pattern in all of these 12 notes. And I'm going to make this one bigger too. And so that, it gives you less landing notes. I was playing over that progression, I was playing in C, so I've got my one C here and the other C up here. Really, it sounds like I'm playing in the bathroom. Okay, I think we had that issue before when I was using the microphone. That's so weird. I mean, I recorded a little bit of it and watched it, and that's... oh, don't worry about him, Reed. He may be asking me how to play that progression. He may not be... Again, it's in Russian. He's probably a troll. So let's just go ahead and jump right in with this scale. Okay, and it's the same notes we were doing before. I can add some text here so we have it. Add text, whatever. So if we're going to go with the C roots, it's C, D, E, G, A. And then, of course, I'm going to make this smaller. Put it right over my face. Okay, so those are the notes we have, and we have 12 total notes, 2 notes per string, which is one of the huge advantages on the guitar to pentatonic scales. On violin and mandolin, they're a little bit tougher to play actually in some ways, especially up the neck. So this is why so many guitar players use pentatonic scales. And so, what we're going to do is let's just start out on the bottom 3 strings. You'll notice that all 3 strings, the bottom 3 strings have the exact same pattern: 1 3 1 3 1 3. And here's also, this is the only pattern of the 5. Again, this is, like I said, this is the worst one. It's the only pattern of the 5 that uses 5 is spread out over 5 frets. Most of them are spread out over 4. All of them are spread out over 4 frets. So this one requires a position shift. So the question is, are we in the 9th position or are we in the 10th position? I generally consider it being in a 10th position, and that you have to reach down to be in a 9th. Okay, so I would play 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 or 1 4 and then 1 4 1 3. Okay, that's how I would play that. But I might play it a little differently if I'm kind of hanging out on the 3rd string. So I might go ahead and use my 4th and 2nd finger on these two, the 10th and 12th fret notes. Okay, now, and for those of you playing, Gary, if you got your 12 string out. For those of you playing acoustic, we're barely going to be in the playable range. Okay, so. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. We're at the 10th fret to start. Let's go 1 3 1 3 1 3, and that feels great. I mean, that little bit of it is. It's the exact same notes that we did in pentatonic number 1 on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. And the note names here are D. So it starts on the D, it goes D, E, and then just these notes in order here. D, E, G, A, C, and then D again. So if I turn this up, it's, oh no. Yeah. See, it's showing it as redlining. So that little snippet of it is actually fun and playable and easy to do. It's when we get to the 3rd string and we got to move down to the 9th fret. So let's go ahead and play from the 9th fret on. So we're going to be the 3rd string on, 9th fret and 12th fret. And I would use my 1st and pinky, but you could use your 1st and 3rd if you're more comfortable. You don't use your pinky a lot, but. And so we had the position shift, meaning we had to take our 1st finger and go down or up to a different fret number. In this case, we went from the 10th fret down to the 9th fret. It's called changing positions. Okay, so 9th fret and then pinky. Yeah, I don't know amatory, so sorry. Don't know amatory. Okay, so we're going to go 9th fret, 12th fret, then position shift back to the 10th fret, and then 13th fret. So play that little bit. It's kind of a good little exercise. The other way you could do it too is you could do it by just reaching your 1st finger down, use your 3rd finger, and then use your pinky. So I'm 1 3 1 4, which is actually kind of a good way to do it because you're coming from this, and then it's kind of like almost a half of a position shift. Okay. Well, those 4 notes are the same as these 4 notes in pentatonic number 1. Okay, so the first lesson we learned this shape. And, we know boxes and things like that. Well, that's a box. Here's a box. Here's a box. Now, actually, I really like this one because this lick in pentatonic number 1 is hard. Couple reasons. You're bending the second string, and you're also closer to the nut, so you're getting more resistance. So what I'm doing is I'm bending the second string, 8th fret up to the 10th fret. So I'm bending the G up to an A, and then I'm going first string, 5th fret, and then 8th fret, and then pulling off. I think it's in that lick may be up an octave, but in Freebird, I think. You could also do a double pull off, like, or you could do a double bend, just to make it a little bit more interesting, or do a variation on it. However, that lick is a lot easier right here. As I mess it up. Right, Gary? Hopefully it means hello. How are you doing in Russian? I told you about almost going to St. Petersburg, Russia. I wished I could have. It would have been a great. It was a pretty good paying gig for go and play one song. But it was. I told you this, but most of you, I don't know if you were there, but I got asked to play to go with Paul Anka. Sorry, breakfast. I got asked to go play My Way with Paul Anka for Vladimir Putin's 50th birthday in St. Petersburg, Russia. I was like, what? So it actually ended up not happening because Paul Anka was mad that the regular guitar player was subbing out the gig to me, and so they didn't use me. So, but I mean, I think I paid like $2,500, for literally one song. Anyway, okay, thank you. So then the last two notes are 10, 12. So it's the same as obviously on the bottom string. So let's play the whole thing. I'll play it with my in the bathroom guitar sound. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go ahead and reach down when we get to the third string. Let's reach down with the first finger and go ahead and use our third finger on the 12th fret. And then we'll go up and down. Down. Yep, makes sense. And then we'll finger it the other way where we actually do a literal shift, okay? Hey, Peroni, how's it going? Good to see you. Okay, well. Thank you. Hey, Josh. Okay, so we're going to go 10th fret with the first finger, then 12th fret, then 10, 12, now to the 4th string, 10, 12, and now to the 9th fret on the 3rd string. Reach down with your first finger, grab that, use your 3rd finger on the 12th fret, and then we're going to go 10th fret. We're going to reach out with our pinky to the 13th fret, and then first finger on the 10th fret and to the 12th fret. Okay, now backwards, we're going to go 12, 10. Pinky on the 13 to 10 with the first finger. Then third finger on the 12, and reach down with the first finger to get the 9th fret. How's it going, Josh? Good to see you. Third finger, first finger, third finger, first finger, third finger, first finger. Okay? Like I said, okay, so again, this is pentatonic number 3. I could probably write this somewhere in here. let me do another. And those red notes are C's. Those are the major roots. So this chord progression that I created. Oh, awesome! Glad, yeah. Somebody gave me a couple good suggestions. I was doing some research. Hold on a second. So this is in C. C to A minor to F. See, there's the C's. I'm gravitating toward those C's. Use an F. Out of the key. I'm trying to create melodies using the pentatonic, keeping it pretty simple. Okay, here's what's this lick from? Let's see. What's that from? It works better on the A and the. I love that lick. Anybody know what song that's from? It's not in that key. But it was so funny because I was playing songs for Alex the other day, trying to give him ideas for producing and things like that, because it's always good to go back. I mean, actually, right now, everybody's not going back 40 and 50 years. They're going back about 20 years to about 2000 right now for song ideas and things like that, which is hilarious. So let me see. I got to get, there we go. I got my windows squared away here. Okay, so I touched my face. Oh, nice. Oh, interesting. You couldn't take pictures inside the Kremlin. Yeah, that's probably not a surprise. Need to reset my pedal to insane reverb. I have no idea what I'm playing when I play exactly, David. You can hide behind that. Ed, I'm glad you enjoyed the Neil Young strumming thing. I was working on, I don't want to just do, old guys. I was trying to find some consistent thing that like someone like Ed Sheeran or John Mayer did. So John Mayer's, his big thing is I'm changing guitars so we can take another sip. Oops. Oh, take another sip. I didn't know I was in drop D. But I mean, it's not like I found 15 songs that John Mayer did with that, or Ed Sheeran, but they both kind of do that groove, and that's kind of a finger picking thing. But I wouldn't mind teaching it because it's a fun groove to play. I actually the song I did, "Raise the Bar" with Justin Bieber, that I constantly get people every time I check my Gmail, someone saying, "Can you teach me how to play that?" And I'm like, I'm waiting for it to come out. So if it comes out, I may teach it. But okay, so let's see. I'm gonna make this a little smaller because I want this all to be out of the way of my hands. Okay. Now, again, so this is pentatonic number 3, and it's of the 5, I call it the worst one, and reasons are because it's far away from number 1. It has only 2 major roots and 2 minor roots. It's a little weird, awkward to play because you've got a position shift. It's the only one that's over 5 frets instead of over 4 frets. So, however, you know, you need to know it because you don't want to be, I'm changing guitars again. Gosh, we're just going to get, good thing, I don't know if anyone's drinking alcohol, but it's kind of a Travis pattern. Yeah, I would kind of call it a Travis, but it's got that, you know, the, where you're hitting on 2 and 4. So you're kind of, it's kind of like you're being, again, like the new lesson I just did on the, on Neil Young. It's kind of imitating kind of a bass drum thing. And so that's just what Travis was doing, was kind of bass and chords. But then he would throw melody in there, which made it crazy. You know what? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to pull up so I have a clean option here. I got to add a track. It's so weird that this thing started recording as soon as I hit. Like, it would have been. I'm going to have to go back and watch and make sure I wasn't like picking my nose or something. So stupid. Okay, where's basic clean? I'll just do that. Don't need a compressor. Wow. It's kind of boomy, bassy, a lot of bass on that sound. Oh, there we go. Turn down a lot of verb. Oh, it's a long verb. Okay. And I do like Valhalla reverb. So if you're looking to add to your, you know, digital audio workstation plugin list, I see a lot of pop producers using Valhalla reverbs, and they're only $50 each. And I think you could, like, I've got everything they've made, and they've got a couple really crazy ones that I like to use on tracks that I do for a lot of games. Like, for example, I play all the guitars on Apex Legends. You know, when I'm leaning in to grab the coffee, I'm going to say something that says a sippable offense. So that's an offense, on a braggadocio offense. Hopefully this is not. Well, I don't have to get too specific, but I had the composer came over for dinner the other day, a couple nights ago. We came over and we ordered barbecue, and he told me that we're going to be working on that thing for years. It's crazy. So, but yeah, the groove that I could call it the Mayer Sheeran groove, although John Mayer might say he came up with it first. But like Neon, I don't know, Neon's not quite like. But it's, you know, like. So kind of do. Well, you know, I wonder, Anthony, if not what. So the groove, my notion for the groove videos is that they have some favorite one. So I'm trying to find, like with Lennon, it was really only 3 songs that I could find, but he didn't play guitar on a lot of stuff. It was funny because I found 5 songs and I stopped looking with the Neil Young one. He does that, you know, it's like. It's almost kind of a hip-hoppy feel. Right? And he actually literally does that exact rhythm, I think, on 3 songs. And like I said, I got to 5 total songs where he did. And I just stopped looking at that point because I'm like, okay, he definitely has a favorite. And my speculation is that he probably did it. I mean, I don't know Neil Young's history, but I'm guessing, wasn't he in Buffalo Springfield? Probably before that, he was probably doing folk like coffee shops and folk shows and things like that. So, yeah, well, what the shape on the way I'm playing that shape, Peroni, is with all my 1 and 3, and then 1 and 3, and then 1 4. So you're only using the pinky on the high note. Let's see what. Wait a minute, it's over here. No, dang it, it's over here. This note right, that red note right there. It's so hard to do. It's so counterintuitive. I don't know how weathermen do it. And by weathermen, I mean weather women and men. Men as in mankind. Joni Mitchell might be a good one, Dennis. That might be a good one. Yeah, it's fun. I was thinking John Denver. Although the crazy thing is that it's so frustrating because it does take a bit of work. I mean, I'm actually, like yesterday, I was listening to Ed Sheeran, and I'm not trying to imply that listening to Ed Sheeran's a lot of work. I like Ed Sheeran, but I don't listen to a lot of music. I'm creating music. I don't listen to it very often. I almost envy people that can just sit down and listen to a record. I can't. I listen to one song and I'm like, I either want to start writing or I want to start practicing, or, like I was telling you about my cousin who we used to go to sleep. We would go stay with our cousins in Chicago, and he would go to sleep listening to the classic rock station, the album-oriented rock station. And I couldn't sleep. I never slept because I was listening to analyzing everything. So I cannot go to sleep listening to music. What are you referencing? Yeah, that's fine. You don't need to know who these players are, Vito. But you should. And Peroni, sorry, that's not. You could use your pinky on that note, but I'm using it. But let's try it with that pinky because I wanted to show you that way too. So we're gonna go 10th fret, first finger, 1, 3, 1, 3. Oops, 3, 1, 3. Reach down with the 1, and then go 4 on the 12th fret. So we're at 9th fret and 12th fret. This is the 3rd string. And then on the 2nd string, back up to the 10th fret. 1, 4, and then 1, 3. And then this is an E note. In that scale of those notes are the C, D. Let me call out the notes. Let's do it again. Actually, let's go descending. 3, 1, 4, 1. Shift down and get 4, 1. And then shift up and 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. It's not the most. A lot of guitar players won't go there because of that shift, But here's the thing: you can't ignore it, because let's say you're working your way up the neck, like you're down in pentatonic number 5, go up to number 1, number 2, and you go, I don't know, and you go right on up to number 4. No, you got to know it's there. Now, granted, you don't need to know number 3, because if you know number 2 and number 4, they're gonna create number 3 in the middle. And that would be the thing that we would learn if we mapped out every C, D, E, G, and A on the fretboard. You would automatically create all 5 pentatonics. And like I said, I was going to do that with a better piece of paper, so I need to do that. But but the way I probably would finger this if I were to play it straight through is I just reach down with my first finger, grab that note, and still use my 3rd finger on the 12th fret. And then the only time I would use my pinky is right here. Now there are players that will go 1, 4, but I don't see it maybe down here. I see bass players play a lot of times, like they'll do whole steps with their first and pinky for some reason, especially down low. But I think that's largely because the frets are bigger down there. But up here, you don't really. It's about perfect for the 1, 3. I mean, if you were just to lay your fingers on the frets like this, they almost naturally line up in that distance. So you can't really get any more comfortable than this part of the scale. But then once you get down here, it gets a little bit crazier. Okay, let's go through the scale again, starting there on the 10th fret of the bottom string, and I'm going to give you the letter names of the notes, okay? And that's something that's real important to know. see, so that's D, then E, next string, G, A, next string, C, D, position shift, E, G, first or second string, A, C, 10th fret, D, E, backwards, E, D, C, A, shift, or no, don't, just use your third finger, G, reach down for the E, D, C, A, G, E, and finally D. And again, it's only 5 notes, thus pentatonic. So some notes are there twice. For example, there's 3 E's and there's 3 D's. But those are not the roots of those are not our major and minor roots. Those would be roots of different, scales. But because like the E, it's really more of a C sound than an E minor sound because you don't have a B in there. And then the D, you don't have an F, so it doesn't sound like D minor. Even though in the key of C you would have a D minor. Okay, but pentatonic is 2 less notes than a diatonic scale, so you're going to have notes missing. All right. So let's go up on the top 2 strings. Okay. And there's a lot of fun stuff we can do in there. Okay. One is you can go to that F to create that sus, which is like like this sound. And that F is not in the pentatonic, but I love the sound of that though. So if I were to pull up, well, let's do some more. The other one that we could go to the C diatonic scale is if we get that B note right there, which again is a really like over the A minor is haunting, over the F is haunting, over the C it's just pretty. Yeah, Vito, I mean, the great thing about YouTube is you can just start studying history. My son knows more old players than I know. And then the sad thing about, I just dropped my pick. Everybody take a sip. Yep, that's a punitive sip. The sad thing about it is, and I'm even seeing this with the Beatles. Like on classic rock stations in the 80s and 90s, they would still play early Beatles stuff. But now the only Beatles stuff they play on classic rock stations are like Sgt. Pepper On, maybe Rubber Soul. And even that's getting less and less play. And it's just the nature of cumulative, songs in the catalog. It's the number of songs, hit songs even, and the number of great songs gets bigger every year because somebody every year writes a great song, or there's 50 great songs written. And I know a lot of you would say there are no great, but there's still great songs being written. And fun songs, and songs that are going to be iconic for this generation 40 years from now, that they're going to want to hear. And so there's going to be songs that they're just going to start falling off the map. Well, I start to see that, and you start to see like, boy, they really hardly ever play The Doors anymore, or Buffalo Springfield. Hardly ever play Crosby, Stills, Nash. It starts to. I mean, it's like they don't play Andy Williams anymore on the radio. They don't play Rosemary Clooney anymore on the radio. So you almost have to be your own personal historian, because everybody that you listen to contemporary has their influences. I always say when you want to learn to play like a guitar player, don't study them, study their influences. So like if you want to learn, like for me, when someone told me that, and there were 3 or 4, I really was into George Benson, and I was kind of getting into it, but what I did was I found out he really liked Wes Montgomery, really liked Charlie Christian and Django Reinhardt. And then there was also this guy named in Indianapolis that was a blind piano player in Indianapolis named Earl Grundy, and he taught Wes Montgomery how to improvise back in the way back when. And he used to come and hang out at the guitar store I worked at. That was, he was an education. And sometimes he would, I would take him home because he obviously couldn't drive. He was blind. I would give him a ride home from the store. He would just hang out at the store like you were hanging out at a barbershop or something like that, And so it was just great conversations. And he was such a great musician. I just, and that was, I couldn't have afforded that education if I were to, if I had to pay for less. I wouldn't make any money to do that, but not enough anyway. But he didn't seem to care. He just wanted to share it. He was an old guy. I mean, older than I am now, I think. But he lived to be 90 something, I think. But anyway, so let me mess around a little bit with the F and the B, okay? The F, B. So there's our F and there's our B. And again, so if I were to play, but I don't, see, if you play that, it sounds very diatonic. What I want to do is do the pentatonic shape, 10, 13, 10, 12. But kind of add those notes in. And so check this out. I'm going to go back to a gain sound. I hope this doesn't sound too lame. I apologize. I'm still trying to figure this out. I would love to be able to... I used my first two fingers there because I knew I was going to be sitting on it. Melodically, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I could have gone. But I have a little more control with those fingers, obviously. Hard. I just created a little exercise there for you. Okay, so check it out. Here's your exercise. So you can do, C. Right? Just play the top 4 notes of the scale. And then when I went to the F chord, I went ahead instead of playing E, I went to the F, and I didn't even think it sounded that good, to be honest. I like the E better. But it kind of, I went to the A minor. Well, that's why it didn't work. It goes to the F. But the other thing you could do is go. And that's kind of a hard little exercise there. So first finger on the 10th fret of the 2nd string, then pinky on the 13th fret, then 3rd finger, then pinky. And that is from something. Oh, did anybody say what this was from? Did anybody say? I got off on a tangent on that one because I was saying, I was showing my son songs that most people don't hear anymore. And that's actually one of the great things about songs falling off, the known collective mind is that you can quote from them. You can go and get inspiration from them. I don't usually like to quote. I usually like to get inspiration. I feel like there's a subtle difference there. Paul McCartney said they nicked from the best. Also, I think you've got to be more and more careful because it depends on who you copy, but I guarantee nobody's doing any send-ups to shoot Marvin Gaye anymore. No one's gonna ever do anything that sounds anything like Marvin Gaye again, which is sad because that music was so great, but his family is such a bunch of sewers that S-U-E-R-S, is that a word? Okay, I'm gonna touch my face. That I think people are just petrified to do it, and which means that the music itself is going to stop being influential. I mean, it'll still get played on the radio because it's great music. I mean, that What's Going On is a great album. I mean, it's one of the 100 best albums of all time, maybe even top 20. And some people would put it in the top 10. But when you sue anybody for even making an attempt to do a loving tribute to a song off that record or any of his records, you're going to stop. He's going to stop being an influence. Now, maybe what that means is they'll still make a bunch of money because now if somebody wants a song in their movie, they won't be able to do and it's not even sound-alikes because you can do sound-alikes, but you can kind of do sound-alikes, but it's the big artists that they were suing, So, but anyway, so nobody knew what this was from. Okay, I'll play it in the actual key. Okay, now there's a second half to that. Yeah, I agree. Marvin Gaye's family is actually gonna hurt themselves from this, and Ed Sheeran. I mean, that was a ridiculous lawsuit against Ed Sheeran, and I think against Pharrell and Robin Thicke too. I think that was a ridiculous lawsuit. You can't copyright a groove or a production style, and that's what they were claiming. And of course, the jury's found in favor. So all they have to do is convince. And I think in a civil suit, it's only 9 out of the 12. And most people are idiots when it comes to that thing. And you put enough experts on the stand, and they're going to be convinced of anything. Now, you always appeal, and if you appeal, you can get up to a judge. They'll go, yeah, no, you can't copyright a cowbell or a piano of Fender Rhodes playing a bass line. So. Oh, do you mean backwards, like from that way? Going from the top down? Maybe. It's probably more usable. To be honest, I use, like I said, I'm just playing in the top 2 strings on this scale. And oftentimes, like I said, that's where you're going to probably use this scale more than anything, is you're going to use the top 2 strings. I do all the time. Like if I'm playing in... I'll use that scale a lot, but I'm only using the top 3 strings. Even mostly the top 4 strings, or top 2 strings. I might use this one. Okay? So I'm just being honest there about the actual use of the scale, because I know the temptation is to really learn scales, and it's not a bad thing, and to memorize them and be able to play them really fast up and down and up and down and up and down. And just like, not critical. Not critical. You do not need to be there. You just need to find a good melody. It could be one note. Over the blue. And that's what we're, if we talk about the minor roots, there they are. Okay. Oops. You guys. Just moving stuff. Here we go. Talk about the minor roots. And those are A's. A's are the minor roots in this shape, in this position. And so, Tool uses the shape pentatonics all definitely. it can be proggy. I mean, but pentatonics can also be just pure blues, pure rock and roll, funk, R&B, pop. They're used in every single genre. Even classical music uses pentatonic shapes or pentatonic scales. Okay, so we added a B as a possible note and the F. We can also do the E flat. Okay, that would give us that more A minor blues. So try that. Go 1, first finger on the 10th fret of the 2nd string, then pinky, and then first finger on the D, and now E flat. Sorry, happy fingers. So, we still don't know what this is. Okay, so, oh, is it freezing? Okay, well, it's green right now. It must have been, I missed it. I was having troubles with the download speed. Yeah, David. Yeah, you're going through a lot of wires between here and there. It's amazing how fast it is. So. Well, Peroni, it just takes time, and if speed, one of the ways to get there is just to do little licks. Make sure you're alternating picking. I did a whole video on, I think, 10 tips to increase your speed. And there's so many great speed players on YouTube, but ultimately, let me just tell you this: my goal in life when I was 15 years old was to be the fastest guitar player in the world. But really, once you move out of your mom and dad's house, your goal in life is make money. It changes real fast. And so no one was paying me to play fast. Never. I mean, occasionally I've had someone, hey, can you do like a shreddy guitar solo, okay, but not like, can you play the world's fastest guitar solo or second world fastest? No one's ever said anything even remotely close to that. No one's implied it. In fact, if anything, they said, no, play something simple. So, yeah, I don't think reloading hook, it was probably at my end, but I did not see that it dropped down. Right now I'm at 2,300 kilobytes per second, 24, so, I'm pretty good. Oh, bummer, Denise. Yeah, so like I said, I don't really get anybody paying me to play fast. They do pay me to play beautiful. In fact, I think even, my general opinion is that all music should be beautiful. Even if it's heavy metal or death metal, there should be beauty in it somewhere. And so that served me well. It could be funk, it could be R&B, it could be hip hop, it could be, but there needs to be an element of beauty in the music somewhere that kind of reaches into the soul and attracts the listeners. So that's kind of my, yeah, I definitely got kind of a Santana thing going right there. Yeah. Of course, that's in D minor and we're in A minor, but literally most of those notes are in the scale that we're playing. So there's that. That's the shape that's written up there. But if we want to kind of get a bluesy sound out of that, keeping in mind that this is our root for A, you could go to that E flat. So now to find that an octave lower, play. Okay, here's our A here. Get on the 12th fret of the 5th string. So play that with your 3rd finger. Then go to your 1st finger and play the C. Then play the D. And then the pinky would be the E flat at the 13th fret. that's the same as this lady. Down there in pentatonic number 1. So go, try this, 13th fret with the pinky, first finger on the 10th fret, third finger on the 12th fret, and then back to the 10th. And then go down to the land on the root. You can even pull it off. And I forgot that Black Magic Woman was written by Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac. I totally forgot that. That's one of those music history things, you know. I knew it at some point, and then I just forgot, you know, thought it was a Santana tune, but it's not. It's actually a Peter Green tune. It's just kind of a fun, tight, nice little lick in there. So that E flat can come in handy. Okay, another note we can use is right above the A note here is a B flat. And that would work over the C chord. If you wanted to imply a C7 or kind of a bluesy sound. It's a little weird over this, but I'm going to play it so you can hear some of these notes over the jam track. This is a very happy major jam track. So it's easier to get that D note here. Than up here. It's a very different sound when you add a finger to get that bluesy note than it is to go slide to it. So you got there's some cool notes in this outside of this scale that can support different sounds. But I can play great notes without leaving the pentatonic. But I don't ever put rules like that on me when I'm soloing, because soloing is a lot like writing. Basically, when you're trying to figure out a song, knowing theory really saves you a lot of time. When you're trying to figure out a guitar solo, like a rock guitar solo, if you can narrow it down to generally to a pentatonic scale, the solo, you've eliminated 7 out of 12 notes. So you can take it down to 5 notes. Now, there may be outside notes outside of there, and exactly, you know, like I use Stairway to Heaven a lot as an example, but like the both solos to Let It Be pretty much stay right in the pentatonic shape. If I couldn't rule out all, you know, 7 notes out of the 12, then it would take me longer to figure out the solo to, say, Let It Be, than it would if I, you know, could narrow it down. Okay, it's only these 5 notes and these scales. So that really will help. And the same thing's true with figuring out songs. If you know the 6 main chords in any key, you know, the 1, the minor 2, minor 3, the major 4, major 5, and the minor 6. If you know those, like in the key of G, that would be G, A minor, B minor, C, D, and E minor. It's going to make it a lot easier to figure out a song that you know is in the key of G, because it's probably going to be those 6 chords. It may stray away from those, but at least you'll figure out most of the chords because they're that way. But when you're writing, there are no rules. If you want to write a song with one chord, you can do it. If you want to write a song that goes chromatically from G to, that's your song. If you can make that work, then more power to you. Someone will come along later, analyze what you do, and say, "This is why, David Siller's song worked so well," because he was implying, someone will come along and analyze it later. And the same thing's true with soloing. Yeah, sure, I can know all the notes that I'm supposed to, that are fair game, that are in the key that'll work. But I also know, because of the chord progression, that all the notes in the key of C will work. I know that I could do some blues notes in there and some flat sevenths in there and maybe some other notes. I could probably justify a lot of notes. Like I've said, you can justify a lot of notes just by using them as passing tones. You could probably just get away with I could do a pure chromatic scale. I mean, that's chromatic scales. And chromatic scales are just every note, at all half steps. That's all that is. So if I go, one of the tricks about doing a chromatic run is figuring out what note to start on and what note to end on. So, like, for example, in that, I could start on E and end on A, and I know that, or I could go down to G. And I know that both those E and the G are going to work. You're only on the transition notes for a split second. It's the. I learned that from Benson. He would do that a lot, like over C major, like over D major 7. He would go like. So he would sound like this insane lick, and then I realized, oh wait, he's just doing chromatic scale. He's going from an E, which is a ninth of the D. Let me go back to a clean sound. Although it's hard to do. Chromatics are hard to do. You really got to, almost kind of start the. We haven't really talked about chromatic scales much, but he starts on like the E and he goes down more than an octave to the C sharp, which is the 7th. That's so weird that when I play that chord, it really makes the meter on the mic go. So it must get all squishy or compressed or something on your end. I gotta work on. I use those often as a warm up, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Now Django Reinhardt would do it with one finger. He would do like, he would have played it like, but he would make it work. See, that just sounds like me going down. So, okay, I'm still not seeing anyone that knows that lick. Okay, so I'm gonna do the second lick from this song, and you tell me if you. And this is for the old timers because I don't think any young people are going to know this song. However, it is a great. I mean, I remember this song. I won't tell you from when because that'll have to be a clue for later. But let's see if somebody gets this. So here's the actual key. So that's the first two licks. And there's one more after that. Anyone? I know some of you are going. Yeah, you love to watch me struggle, yeah. I should just have the camera following me around all day. You could see me struggle all day. Yep, Peter Green just died, just passed away. I was watching some stuff about him. I read the article, and of course, in Rolling Stone, and of course they had a lot of videos. So I was going, oh, I didn't know he wrote that song, and it was like more than that. It was more like I didn't know that was a Fleetwood Mac song. Because the Fleetwood Mac I know, B Kitty. Okay, we got to start from the top now because B Kitty just showed up. We're not really doing groupings. Yeah, groupings are hard on this particular scale. We want little melodic ideas. Eddie trick. You can actually bend behind it. You can go. Wrong string. Still in tune. Okay, so let's see. Did anybody? Okay, Bob, you said you think it sounds familiar. Pants confirmed. Are you counting bars? Oh, Peroni, you're asking me second nature. Well, I just recorded that part, so I know what's coming up as far as like the groove. And yeah, no, it is pretty second nature. You kind of have a metronome. I mean, if the song were in 7/8, no, I would not try to count bars in that scenario unless I was having to read. But if it was some weird meter, I would just kind of not. I would probably ignore the meter even less than I do when I'm playing in 4/4. 4/4 is just like, yeah, it's kind of like that's every song is in 4/4. And so not every song, but you know what I mean. And so yeah, definitely get to the point where you don't have to count bars anymore. Okay. And that's a byproduct. Okay. Just so you know, Peroni, this should be the theme for the whole thing is, guitar players tend to spend 90% of their time practicing soloing, and in practice, and in performance, they probably spend 95% of their time playing rhythm guitar. The players that tend to be the best players, the players that tend to get the most work, are the players that work on rhythm guitar. Okay, so all this learning about soloing, we all love to learn how to solo. We all love learning scales and little insights and tricks and how to get through these chord progressions, things like that. It's a great thing. But Peroni, you will not have a problem ever keeping track of where you are in the bar if you're a good rhythm player. Okay, so if we talked about this with the blues thing. I was like, you're not going to be able to play the blues unless you have a 12-bar blues progression memorized and you've played it 1,000 times in a row without making a mistake. At that point, then you will know exactly where you are at any moment in a blues progression. You'll be able to come up with a good solo ideas. You'll have great ideas. Now, on a random song like this one where I was playing, see, the chords in this one, let me go to the top, are basically C, A minor, F. Yep, Bob, it was Wildfire. I love that song when it came out, but it's funny because that was totally a it's an E, right? It's a good example. Goes to the 3 chord. Yeah, it's a Michael Murphy Brown. I can't remember. Michael something Murphy, I think. Or something Michael Murphy. Yeah. That's a great oh, interesting. So there's another. Yeah, well, that's a pretty. I'm assuming there's a million songs called Wildfire. But yeah, Michael Martin Murphy. That's what it was. Yeah, 3 M's. He went on to form the company 3M. He's a billionaire now. He doesn't do music anymore. I don't even know if he's still around. The ladies loved him though, and the ladies loved that song. It was about a horse, I think, wasn't it? And Wildfire was about a guy's horse or something. So chicks dig it. So if you can cover that song, Gary, Gary, you should do the Michael Martin Murphy one. Although the range on that thing is stinking high. I don't know if it's vocally in your range. Oh yeah, Mission Impossible. Yeah. Kind of the same, yeah. And Peroni, that's one that's in 5. Mission Impossible's in 5. Boom, 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 1, 2, 3. Boom, 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 4, 5, 1. It's hard to count it and play it, but that's in 5/4. It's a great theme. It's a great theme. It's crazy that everybody can sing that, and it's in 5/4. That's how you know it was so brilliant. Yeah, 3M is still around. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that he was doing nightclubs, clubs, fairly large. It's been the Midwest and the West. He would still be able to fill up the rooms. So, yeah, getting down clave 3/2 pattern, help figuring out rhythms for me. That's cool. He's 75. Okay, well that's not. I'm not that far from that now. The hard part is, can he still sing? That's the. But yeah, I'm amazed. I mean, how old is Keith Richards? He's got to be almost 75, right? I mean, Paul was born in 41, so Paul will be 80 next year. I used to know all the Beatles. I think Ringo was born in 40, so he's 80 this year. It's like a gym for the brain, exactly. Music can be that way, actually. Really good exercise. And Diane, I've been stopping and pausing my brain to try to think of what the heck story I was thinking about yesterday. They go, oh, that would be a good. And again, I didn't text it to myself. I think I was driving when I thought of it. Yeah, Vince Gill was not an original member of Pure Prairie League. Amy is another one. I taught Amy a lot. That song, that's actually a really fun song too. Oh, he had a live cast for his birthday. That's funny. A couple friends of mine play with him. Greg Bissonette plays drums, and my friend Warren Ham plays keys and sax and harmonica if he needs to. He's a very good harmonica player. I've done sessions with him, done church gigs with him and stuff. Yeah, that's weird. Sometimes we think about moving out of California, and it's like all those connections would go away in a way. I'd still be working. It wouldn't be a problem to get work. It would just be, it would be weird to not have friends that are doing stuff in the business. It's always fun to watch TV and go, hey, go, hey, look, it's so-and-so. Let's see. Oh, you thought that lick I was doing was a Paul McCartney, or Mission Impossible? That's a good Wings song. It's probably the "Live and Let Die" is probably the best Wings song. I think it's. Is it the best? It's not the best Bond song. Okay, so we're done with the lesson now. Okay, you got the scale. I did the. You can see the major root, and then here's the minor roots. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. What's your favorite Bond? What do you think the best Bond song is? I have my opinion. "Live and Let Die" is definitely top 5, probably top 3. Oh, you know what? That lick actually reminds me of. Tom, you know what we in Europe say when you see that American cup you're holding? Oh, this one? I'm afraid to ask. I don't want to know. Yeah, not the Bond theme, but the every Bond movie has a different theme. See, I'm trying to think. Now I'm wondering if I'm forgetting the one I like the best. Hold on a second. I'm going to pull up the list right now. Rank. Yeah, the James Bond theme I don't count. Where's the full list? We have a Wikipedia. James Bond. 24. All 22. Okay. So we have 24 here. Now, what's her name just did one. Oh, see, they don't put it in the list. It's a big, like, click next. No, I don't want to do that. The last one was done by, what's her name? Did the movie even come out? Just want the list. Let's see if this is a list. Oh, here's a list. Thank you. Well, Dr. No technically was just the James Bond theme, John Barry and orchestra. So then, is Casino Royale technically a Bond movie? I mean, not the new one. Sorry, they did not the 2006 version. The Peter Sellers. I love that movie. It's freaking hilarious. Total 60s like drug movie. I forgot about the Louis Armstrong one. Live and Let Die. Okay, yeah, my top 3, and they're pretty much the old ones. Now, there's a new one by, what's her name? Somebody say it. Billie Eilish. Thank you, Hero. Yeah. Billie, and I know the guy that mixed her record. Our brother produced it, but another guy mixed it. He won 4 Grammys for it this year. It's like, what? It's insane. This is the hook, I think, from. I love that melody and that hook, and that is probably my favorite. I would say that is my favorite theme, which is "You Only Live Twice" by Nancy Sinatra. It's not a great vocal performance, but I think it's a pretty darn good melody and song. I would probably say "Live and Let Die" is my second favorite, and then my third favorite is "Nobody Does It Better." I think that's a great song, and I think "Nobody Does It Better" was written. Was that Burt Bacharach? Maybe not Burt Bacharach. Burt Bacharach's one of my favorite all-time composers. Do I have a hidden talent? Snowflake is asking me if I have a hidden talent. I generally know how to pick out the perfect shoes for any occasion. No, no, I don't know. Do I have a hidden talent? Uh, that's a tough one. No, no, Bittersweet Symphony. Uh, that's a great hook too, though, Peroni. And that was a bummer because the band that had the hit with Bittersweet Symphony pretty much had to give all the money back from it. I don't think they made any money on it, but that was not a Bond theme, unfortunately. Goldfinger's a great one. Shirley Bassey freaking kills that one, and that's a top 5 for me. But some people hate that one because of Shirley Bassey. Goldfinger, but I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just like so iconic. You know, the fact that you can make fun of it tells you how important it was. You know, I couldn't even tell you Billie Eilish's. She kind of half performed it at the Grammys, right? At the Oscars. Or maybe they canceled it. I can't remember. A hard song behind my head. Well, that's a good talent to have, I guess. You know, people might pay you for that. That's that's the key. Okay, hidden talent is investing in the stock market. I'm pretty good at it. So I'm not a day trader though. But I don't make stock recommendations. Sorry. But this house was a good chunk of this house was paid for by gains in the stock market. Of course, when you sell the stocks, you have to pay cap gains tax, which stinks. But you know my name. Casino Royale. Boy, what is... Oh, Royale, sorry. In Casino Royale, the song, You Know My Name. Yes. Actually, there's some good songs on that. Let's look at which... Casino Royale. I'm still trying to think of that story, Diane. 1967 song list. Yeah, there was All Music. What were the song? See, IMDb has, well, yeah, it's the movie. It's not a. Yeah, it was all the music on there was Burt Bacharach. Casino Royale theme. I used to say Hal David. That's so funny because there's no lyrics in the Casino Royale theme. That is a fun one. That might have to be top 10. Oh, well, one of my favorite Burt. In fact, probably my favorite Burt Bacharach song. Probably why I like that movie is "Look of Love." That's a great song. And in fact, one of the things I love about the "Look of Love," listen to that song and listen to the sax solo. Dude, that is like the sax solo. He's barely blowing into that horn. They got the microphone right in there. It's like you can hear the spit. It's like, it's like amazing. So, "Look of Love" is a great. Oh, you have confidence in me, Diane. It's like, dang it, what was the story I was thinking? What was I doing? I was driving to the airport to pick up my wife who was out of town. My London gig next year got moved to November, so I'm hoping to be in London in November of next year. Everything's getting pushed back, but it still will be. I'm hoping to still be able to go for that. I mean, I'm up for it. It's just a matter of if they're going to need me to go there. It's kind of, I can do it from home. It'd be easier, but if it's November, I'm taking my wife with me. We're going to make a trip out of it, and we'll go somewhere. I'm not sure where we'll go from London. We'll be in London for a few days. I'll be working. She'll be hanging out, but they'll put me up and everything. So free, which was actually the expensive part about going to London because we flew there with the kids for free, but it was the apartment. I think was $3,500 for nine days. It was expensive. Let's see. Yeah, Bittersweet Symphony, the Stones suit. But you're right, that melody is kind of like that, isn't it, Brony? Yeah, I like that. Like that melody. That's a great hook. I would definitely call that the hook of the song. You only live twice. Yeah, I mean that's a good melody too, but kind of hard to sing. It's big jumps in it. Nancy Sinatra, she could sing. I don't know have any of you watched The Wrecking Crew? I think it's on Hulu. The Wrecking Crew. I told you about this. I think if you're older like me, you'll know a lot of these songs. I think part of the reason why it took so long to get this movie released was because he had to get permission to use, I think it's 125 songs in the movie. Because the Wrecking Crew played on all of them, everything from the Pink Panther to Love Will Keep Us Together to, Sonny and Cher, These Boots Are Made for Walking. Well, Nancy Sinatra, These Boots Are Made for Walking. Sonny and Cher, I Got You, Babe. All the Monkees tunes, a lot of Beach Boys songs. So that's all good, AB. Yeah, Diamonds Forever. That's your favorite. That's a good one. Why? Let's see. Yeah, Dusty Springfield sang "Look of Love." That was a love theme from that movie, but it wasn't. I don't even consider that technically a Bond movie. I don't know. I think it's a comedy. But no, I'm not talking about the 2006 Casino Royale. I'm talking about the 1967 Casino Royale. So at AB, we're talking about Bond movies right now until I can try to think of a story. I remember going to see a Bond. I remember seeing a double feature with my dad. It was like started at 8 o'clock and went to. I was little. I was like 8 or 9. I'm sure I fell asleep, and it was like You Only Live Twice and Thunderball, and it was in that order because I remember You Only Live Twice, but Thunderball I don't remember. And the ends of those movies, they're just so boring with the big battle scenes. It's funny. It should be the most exciting part, but it's actually the most predictable part. And so those are the parts that are, in fact, they don't even do those anymore in the new ones. But the battle scenes, gosh darn it, what was this? What was I thinking yesterday? So we were driving to the airport, had to do several laps. Fortunately, it was Burbank, so that's an easy airport to get in and out of, but I had to do multiple laps. Beth was there, but they wouldn't let him off the plane. They were dismissing one row at a time. And then they would pause and then do another row, and she was at the back of the plane, so I was stuck doing laps around the airport. Let's see. Story. Oh, good. You saw that, Bruce. Yeah. There are others too. Another great documentary. I mean, I don't want to say it's great, but they're pretty good. Sound City was good. If you can look up Sound City, it might be on YouTube. Sound City, and that's a studio in LA. It still exists. It's not too far from my house in Van Nuys. And I'm not in Van Nuys, but the studio is. And that was where, they recorded a lot of records there. And that's where I heard the story about Mick Fleetwood discovering Lindsey Buckingham, because they had just opened the studio up, and Lindsey and Stevie Nicks were recording their first album there, and kind of living at the studio. They had no money, and Mick Fleetwood was thinking of bringing Fleetwood Mac in to record at the studio, and he wanted to hear an example of something that was recorded there. So the manager of the studio engineer, one of the engineers, pulled up tapes from their record and played it, and Mick was like, he liked the studio okay, but he really liked the guitar playing. And he goes, I want to hire that guitar player. And then Lindsey wouldn't join the band unless they took his girlfriend. So that's how they both got into the band. So that story's in there, and then it's also in the classic albums video on Rumors. A friend of mine was one of the engineers on Rumors. He just bought that studio up in the Bay Area. He just bought it last week. because it was nothing. I mean, it was closed. It'd been closed down for years. Well, AB, I'm so sorry life isn't good, but I'm so glad that this is helpful. I'm glad. I remember you in my prayers. Know that. And I know life can be tough, and especially I think right now being young, trying to find work, finishing school, the COVID thing, being lonely, all that stuff, trying to find a significant other in your life is also very, 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 very tough. Oh, no worries. Yeah, you're right. It has been an hour and a half already. Yeah, Bond movies are very formulaic, and I'm not a fan. I was as a kid, huge fan. Literally, I could watch the first hour of any Bond movie and would love it, but it's that last hour that's just kind of tedious. So, yeah, everybody be praying for AB. Lord, AB, we'll just be praying that you're comforted, that you're able to be, actually more important than being comforted, that you're able to comfort people around you. I find one of the best ways to get out of your head and out of yourself is to minister to other people, to help other people. Kind of what I'm doing here, kind of. But I always say you guys are doing more for me than I'm doing for you. But I do feel like so often, especially if we're alone a lot, we just start thinking about everything. Every time I cough, I'm like, oh, I'm going to die, or something like that. And it's like, no, you got to get out of yourself. You got to get out of your head. You got to get out of your house. So, if you can't make, what? It's funny because if you can't make a living, if you're having a hard time finding a job or something like that, you always volunteer. And then you never know, they may hire you. My wife did that with the library at one of the schools. She was having a hard time getting into the school, so she just started volunteering, and then they hired her to work there. So she's actually working at a school now. They're hiring her for like 3 months, and the schools are closed, and so they hired her because she was, they wanted a good teacher to sub for a teacher that's pregnant. And then she said, can I come in for a month? I'll volunteer to come in for a month to learn the system so that I know how to do the whole Zoom thing for the kids. And they said, no, we'll pay you to come in. So that was pretty cool. But yeah. And then, is it buffer? Oh, shoot. I see it. Dang it. There we go. Back to green. Is it? I'm going to check my speed. Download speed is fine. Wait, my download speed is blazing. It may be a YouTube issue then. Let's see what my upload speed is. It's good. It's good. Well, yeah. So maybe it's a YouTube thing, because right now my upload and download speeds are good. Yes, I saw that. Pac-12, Big Ten, all of them are canceled. Yeah, they're all going to cancel. Exactly. I'm working on. I'm Duolingo to work on my Spanish. Be kitty. Diane, I still haven't thought of a story. I need a theme or something to trigger a memory. Let's see. Usually my stories, and I think the one I thought of last night was definitely I looked the fool. So I remember that much of it, but that's pretty much, isn't that kind of the theme of all of my stories? Yeah, the Corona thing is it's gonna take a minute. Well, and AB, you're in India, which is like, it's getting worse right now. A coffee story. I told you how I got into coffee. Um, let's see. I just found out a friend of mine. Well, I mean, not much of a friend. I mean, I met him once, um, but we were Facebook friends, and it was someone that I was connected with for my second when we went to Paris the second time, and he passed away from COVID back in April. He was only 50 years old, and he had a daughter, his wife, and I think 2 kids. He had a wife and 2 kids, and he was kind of the European representative for Spectrasonics, which is a software program. And so I met with him. We met at a bar in Paris. Funny because we were supposed to meet at Le Blue Train, the Blue Train, at the train station, and he and I didn't have a phone back then, or I didn't have a phone. I had an iPhone. No, I had a iPod Touch that I would hook to the internet and then get messages. Right? What year was this? 2011. So I guess I was just thinking that it was going to cost too much money to use a phone back then, so I didn't bring one. I just brought the iPhone Touch, or the iPod Touch, and I'm all the way over, basically what would be the west part of Paris proper, inside the big thing, but right by the train station. And I log into the Wi-Fi there, and he said, "Oh, can I change it to so and so?" And he changed it to this place, and I couldn't. He gave me an address, but Paris, and then I didn't have GPS or anything. And I was going to take a train, but I wasn't sure, and I was just like, or subway. So I just started walking, and then every time I got Wi-Fi, of course my battery's dying. Every time I got Wi-Fi, I logged in to make sure I was kind of walking in the correct direction. And I think it took me 2 hours to walk there from the train station. I wish I had a step counter that day, but I basically walked from one side of Paris to the other side of Paris to have this meeting with this guy, and it was good. We had a drink and talked. And he's from France, or was, and so let's see. Anyway, that's. Yeah, I think the COVID thing, I think it's a matter of living with it too. I think there's going to be, my opinion is always, I hate to say opinions on anything, but I think that a majority of people can't even get it. Like a big majority. I mean, there are some that say 90% have the T cell immunity or something like that. They can't even get it. But I think it's closer to maybe 83% or something like that. And so that would be a drag because you couldn't have the antibodies. And then if it's like the flu and it changes every year, then that's also a drag. But people were asked how many Americans had it, and they said 30 million. The average answer was 30 million, and the real answer is 6 million or 3 million. And of course, it could be. CNN reported that it's 10 times more than we've said, which means it's 1/10 as deadly as they said. But they were asked how many people have died, and they said something like 9 million, and it's not even close. And it's 0.04% of the population has died of COVID in the U.S. and not even close to cancer or heart disease. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, they may be able to get. I think Charlie's just saying it's going to be another year or 3 because he wants me to keep doing these live streams. That's the only reason. So that is a downer. Questionable, but I don't know if I'm right. Oh, sorry, AB. Charlie, do you think I think you're right, but it passes soon, be dreadful when to think how much. Yeah, I agree, and I also think we just kind of need to get on with our lives, and like I said, there may people will change how they may, you may be required to wear a mask in all businesses for the coming future, foreseeable future, and people can deal with that. If you're going to go to a grocery store or whatever, that's not a big deal. Um, but eventually, hopefully restaurants will start to open. I mean, it's funny because my wife just got back from Missouri, and they don't do any. There's no people aren't wearing masks anywhere. It's like it's just not a thing. Uh, there are counties in Texas that haven't even had one case, not one death, but one case. So they're not taking any precautions because why would they? There's nothing that tells them that they should. So, a question about that. Oh, okay. From you, maybe. Oh, I see. Sorry. See, was I on a TV interview? Can you share? I was in. Um, I did. I did a thing. Let's see. Where I can share that. It's a YouTube. Let's see. What was it? No, literally YouTube. But it wasn't a TV interview. It was a. I don't know of being an interview on TV per se, but there was this kind of a live stream podcast thing. Game. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. What was it? Oh, okay. Well, you know what? It's in my subscriptions. Game. What is it? Subscriptions. Here we go. Subscriptions. Search. I'm gonna have to search subscriptions. Game. Dang. What? Composers. Cannot find. Let's see. I cannot find it. There was a. Oh wait, here it is. Here it is. Game audio hour. So I did this, but you guys know all
the
this.
longest wait.
This is So you're probably not going to learn anything new from this because I'm an open book with you guys. But I did do this, so you can check that out later if you want. Yeah, part of the problem with wearing masks, for one thing, I've heard a lot of people, including Fauci, say it doesn't do any good. Now, if it didn't do any good, doctors wouldn't wear them. But one of the things is we got to get to herd immunity, or you're going to string this thing out forever. In other words, at some point you have to open up, and every time you open up, there's going to be a bump, and it's like then you can't. Because see, we're in California, and what they did was they opened up, and then there was a bump, and my opinion was it was caused by all the protests, because literally in every city, I don't care if it was a city of 50 or a city of 5 million, every city in California had people at least standing on the street corner, protesting. And and in Hollywood, they had 200,000 people marching down the street for 8 hours. And so they had a big spike, and they tried to claim it was because of barbershops and restaurants. And I'm just like, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, you just got to be logical here, in this arena. And, but even so, even with the spikes in cases, the hospitalizations aren't as bad, except in like very, very, like San Diego, where you have a lot of people wealthy Mexicans coming over the border to get treatment. You're seeing fuller beds down there, but the further you go north in California, the less that's an issue. Same thing's happening in Florida because you have so many people come from South America to get treatment. So you're getting a lot of people counted in the caseload that are not Americans, which is fine because we do have really the best healthcare system in the world. And I totally understand if I wanted to live, I would go where I had the best chance to live. Um, yeah, surgeries will be a big test. There'll definitely be cases, but see, and the thing is that all those people are going to be going home. I saw kind of a friend of a friend. His son went to drove 4 hours to a protest, came back, and his dad wouldn't let him back in the house. So the kid went and stayed with friends for the next 9 days, like couch surfed in 4 different households, and all 4 of the households got COVID because he brought it back from a protest. Because you're yelling and screaming, and it's a lot of exhaling. And I get the whole church thing too. It's that's our struggles. We want to open church up again, but I also know that you're going to be within a few feet of somebody for an hour at a time, and you're going to be singing and breathing and all that. So it's yeah, no, and I don't wear a mask on the street. Most people don't wear a mask on the street. I always crack me up when I see people wearing masks in their cars by themselves. I mean, I understand if you're driving someone, 100%, and I've done that. But if you're by yourself in a car, that's like the perfect bubble. That's like you're already COVID proof at that point. And I think that one of the big losers in the COVID era is public transit. And I don't like taking the trains in LA. I mean, they're not bad, but the last 2 times I've taken the metro in LA, some crazy person got on and almost tried to kill everybody on the train. Literally pulled out a knife and was like, we had to kick him off the train. That's the last 2 times I was on a train in LA, and I probably won't ever, if I don't have to ever do it again, I won't. But in Paris, love it. In London, oh, it's so fun. Did not take the subway in Rome. I think there's only 2 lines. We did it, and I almost got a ticket in Austria. But Europe has it down. And also, seriously, LA is not. I don't even know why they started doing the metro in LA. Because I'm touching my face. LA is ridiculously spread out. If you've never been to Los Angeles, you have no idea. But you can't. Manhattan is a little island. It's perfect for rapid transit and subways. It makes complete sense. And I've taken the subway in New York. Not a fan. Again, it's something about Europe. There's just a lot more in Asia too. There's a lot more consideration than in America. Just not as much consideration. Oh, Americans. And then so it's. But public transit's definitely going to get a big hit. I mean, people are going to be real hesitant to get on trains unless they really have to. New York, well, everybody's moving out of New York, so I don't know what's going to happen there. That was part of de Blasio's thing, was he was keeping the trains running because he knew that if they shut down New York, all those millionaires and billionaires would starve to death because there wouldn't be anybody working at the grocery stores, there wouldn't be anybody working in the restaurants, and so they had to keep the trains going, and that's part of what caused the big spread in New York. And so LA's so spread out, and they keep adding lines and everything, and I don't know. So someone said, "Oh, you should take the train to the airport." And from Pasadena, I said, "Take the train to the airport." The train doesn't go to the airport. First off, okay. The taxi cab union in California prevented the train from now in Chicago, I think, right? In Chicago, correct me if I'm wrong. The trains, elevators too. The train goes right to the airport. You can take a train right to O'Hare, right? I'm pretty sure you can because I think I've done that. Or you walk a little bit. I think it's a little bit of a walk to the station. But LA, they didn't do that. And they're building these new lines, and they're like, why? Why didn't you make this train go right there? Well, it's because the taxi cab union was like, nope. They had a lot of money, and they were a big lobbying group. So someone said, take the train to here's my story, Diane. Sorry, I'm just riffing now. But take the train to, I said, really, how do I do it? I said, well, you take the gold line downtown, okay, and then you take the red line to the purple line to the blue line, and then at the end of the blue line, and I'm not sure if I'm getting the colors right, but at the end of the blue line, you get a cab, or they have a bus that goes to the airport that you can take. Okay, how long is this going to take me? and I looked it up, and it was like 3.5 hours. I'm like, are you kidding? I could take the flyaway shuttle, and it'll take me an hour. I could drive in 45 minutes. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So, oh, okay, cool, Bruce. I will check that out. Thank you for that. Yeah, and the large group thing. I mean, like I said, I think that's definitely my concern. Is there's going to be, and I have a feeling it's coming, that you will not be able to travel without proof that you got the um, uh, the vaccine. Not that I'm opposed to vaccines. I don't always get a flu shot. I was when the kids were littler. I was getting a flu shot every year just because was the breadwinner. And if a flu knocked me down for 2 weeks, it could hurt our monthly cash flow. But lately, I haven't done it because it's just not as critical. And I think the last time I got a flu shot, I got sick. So I was like, well, what am I, because the flu shot's a guess. The flu vaccine every year is kind of a guess. Yes, B Kitty is 100% right. LA is a car capital, and to be honest, I wish they'd taken all that money. If they'd taken all that money that they had put into mass transit and just built better freeways, that would have been a better thing. Because here's the thing: ultimately, we're getting to a place, and we will get to a place where almost all cars are electric anyway. So it'll be cleaner in the long run than having trains and buses and all that stuff. And so they just didn't see that future 30, 40 years ago when they started doing the planning for the train system. But yeah, I don't like taking the train in LA. I just never, it's just been, it was fun the first few times. And then, yeah, the microchip, I know, Bob. Yeah, why is Bill Gates really into this whole thing, And that's the other thing is that I'm not a paranoid, but I also know that like California, they're in the process of training 3,000 contact tracers. So sometimes I'll walk over to Starbucks and I'll just leave my phone behind. I'm like, they have no record of where I am. So yeah, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I mean, we homeschooled our kids, not because of that. We homeschooled our kids. They all got their vaccines. Yeah, it's oh, Catherine, thank you. Chicago's that way. Yeah. It's so stupid. LA didn't do that. The train right to the airport, and they may be changing because they're working on it right now, which is perfect. Now that they're working on it, because I remember going. It took me to pick up Emma. It took me like an hour and 45 minutes just to get from outside to where to pick her up, and that was because they were working on it, and they had like LAX is this big loop, of course, and all this parking in the middle. And what they normally do is there's a road that goes down the middle of the parking, and all the parking lots dump into that road, and then that's how you get out. It actually is fairly well designed. But it still can be brutally slow. What they did was they're working on that whole middle section, which maybe means they're bringing trains in. I'm not sure. I need to look at the master plan. So they had all that closed, and so all of the parking structures, the towering parking structures, are all dumping into the main loop around the outside. And so it just was like you wouldn't move. You're just sitting there not moving. And I'm like, oh. It didn't matter. Emma could have walked to me, and we still would have been stuck in it because you still have to get out because all of the crisscrossing paths were all closed too. So anyway, it's a mess. And they said that it would be like Thanksgiving week, Thanksgiving the day before Thanksgiving for the next 3 years. But then COVID hit, and it's not. I've been to LAX a couple times now. In fact, where are we going? No, we're flying out of Burbank. But we're going to be going out to Missouri in a month. But, oh, shoot. I see it. It's buffering. It's green again. Just talking now. So let's see. Interesting. Oh, interesting. The flu vaccine is only effective for 90 to 100 days. That makes sense. Yeah, because and the COVID thing is proving to not be just a winter flu, because it's spiking all over the place. And the warm, it was one of the things they said it probably wouldn't happen. There's so many things they don't know about this. In 10 years, they'll be writing all sorts of books. And yeah, I see the buffering thing. It's going again down. like I said, at least I'm just talking. Yeah, audio is okay. So if I freeze like this, now you think it's buffering, and it's not. Oh, it's buffering. See. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. That may be a YouTube. They may be pinging back and forth. That may be what I'm getting here. I have a little box on the OBS software that is green or yellow or orange or red. And usually it's green. It's supposed to be green. And I'm assuming what it's doing is it's getting a ping back from YouTube. So there may be, because I just checked my speed and it was actually really good. But that may be like some kind of ping. I don't think it says anything. If I hold my mouse over it, click on it, nope. So, 2 hours, holy crap. Oh my gosh. And I didn't get a story in. Oh my gosh, Roscoe and Woodman, yeah. Well, I remember, well, no, still before my time. The 210 was before my time. But I remember having friends say, yeah, it used to take like 40 minutes to get from La Crescenta to Pasadena because you'd have to take like Colorado all the way, or Foothill Boulevard all the way. It would take forever. Now they put the 210 freeway and you get there in 10 minutes. Of course, now it's back to 30 minutes with traffic. So, yeah, what does they say? In LA, you're an hour away from everywhere. So, yeah, I mean, we talk about it. Beth was just back in Missouri, but then she and Emma went to a city that I would consider looking at for, I don't want to say retirement because I'm never going to retire. But I can't afford to retire because I didn't start working until I was in my late 30s. It was like I didn't get any work until then. So now I got to keep working. And can you believe we're almost to 100 live streams since COVID? But she was in Bentonville, and she just said it's the cutest and the most beautiful area. So we'll look at it. I mean, I could sell my house and buy 5 houses back there. So, I mean, that's one of the nice things about living in LA. We've already got appreciation. Please make a live stream series on open tunings. I did, AB. I did Dadgad. Did you not see that one? I know you were around for that one. Let's see. Yeah, it's Catherine. Yes, so little known on this. Like I said, it's gonna, and I think in general, I think the consensus will be it was a giant overreaction to it. That's my hope and prayer. And my hope is that, we overreacted and it was not as big a deal. I mean, we're still nowhere near the numbers of AIDS cases and deaths. It's not even, I mean, there's been 45 million deaths from AIDS, I think, worldwide. I mean, that's the biggest pandemic of my lifetime. And largely preventable. But whereas COVID is tough because they don't really know how it transmits. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories on, businesses are wasting millions on cleaning supplies. It's not transmitted through touch. And it's also not transmitted through casual contact. So if I walk by someone that's wearing a mask and I'm not wearing a mask and we cross paths, you can't get it that way. Your body has enough natural immunities if you get one little, molecule of it, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, it's when you're sitting next to someone or talking to someone for 20 minutes, and particularly talking, particularly mouth breathing. We're all mouth breathers. I think God designed our face to really prevent these kind of things if you're not talking. Because when you're breathing in your nose, it's all going down. But I've seen people wear masks and then blow smoke, and you can see the smoke goes out here, goes down, and it goes up. It literally, you infect both the people on either side of you and not the person in front of you. So you can, I'm wearing a mask when I go. Obviously, we have to in stores. If I didn't have to, would I? I might, if most other people were wearing them, just because it would make them feel better. And I'm not trying to push a political narrative or anything like that. Bye, Peroni. Um, but you know, you know, I don't want to be, you know, I like to be nice to people, and that's generally my. But I also miss that smile and the contact, and I talk to people, and it's really hard to do with a mask on. So I do miss that. You know me. You all know me pretty well. I would say you know me better than most anyone. Uh, and the the thing is, I'm generally pretty friendly when I'm out and about, and I like that. My dad was that way. Keep in mind, my dad was a salesman, and my grandfather was a congressman. So I got a double hit of the shaking hands, holding babies kind of thing, and my kids are my son Alex is very much that way. So it's really funny, but yeah. So I'm my wife is antisocial. She could go out and not talk to anybody, which is funny that we ended up together. But yeah, Chatty Tom, that's exactly right. Yeah, people have me at gatherings like dinner parties and things like that because they know if there's a lull in the conversation, it'll get filled up. I won't let it happen. So yes, Diane, 100%. Sun, 15 minutes in the sun 3 times a week, if you can, with your back. Try to get the sun on your back. Vitamin C is always a good. Zinc also good. Who was it what's the hydroxychloroquine? Quinine, right? So somebody had said that the quinine, like fizzy water, is like someplace you can't find quinine. Like you can just drink quinine. I know people that are just drinking quinine, like singers and stuff that are real paranoid. There's all sorts of BS out there, but there's things that it won't hurt you to drink fizzy water, if that's what quinine is. I think. What did Bob Schumann say? Zinc, D, and also hydroxychloroquine for RA. Oh, right, yeah, because you've got Bob. You've got RA is yeah. Well, and the rates of death in India were a lot less because a lot of people, basically because malaria is an issue in India, but now India's climbing now, but the death rate is very, very low. But that doesn't mean people aren't suffering. And so, but the death rate in India is even lower than the U.S. And the death rate in the U.S. is pretty low ultimately, especially if you were tonic water plus gin. Yeah, exactly. Then you just don't care. Yeah, I think I'll give you another one. This is a silly thing we can all do. See, where did she go? I think we've got kind of a nurse here, right? Catherine, are you a nurse? So I got somebody sent me this list of things, and one of them, there were several. I think one of them was vitamin D, but one was, check this out. So every now and then, you can do it multiple times during the day. Exhale through pursed lips. In other words, create resistance to your lungs when you exhale, like you're whistling. And what that does is it strengthens your lungs. It sounds silly. Clearly one of the tips was, this was early on in the COVID thing. One of the tips was, wash your hands, all that. My concern is with all the antibacterial and the alcohol and all that stuff. I think we're gonna make ourselves susceptible to superbugs. That's going to be the big. I think in hospitals they're having a real problem with that kind of stuff anyway. Oh, Denise, you're a nurse. Okay, yeah, but that was just one of the things, and I thought that makes a lot of sense because it is harder to exhale through pursed lips than it is through just open mouth or through your nose. So you can kind of create a little bit of resistance for your lungs to practice and get some strength, okay? Hydroxychloroquine, is that one of the side effects is macular degeneration? My mom had that, but she wasn't on hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, that was a bummer. I know someday I'm probably going to be blind. I'm blind in one eye and my other eye sucks. So, ultimately. And Denise, God bless you for doing that. I've got my niece is a nurse, the niece nurse, and she works at Children's Hospital in Arizona, in Phoenix, and they have nothing to do. She's now also she's the scheduling nurse. I mean, she's moved up really fast. She's only 28, and she's like the scheduling nurse, and she's having to work her butt off to make sure everybody gets enough hours to keep their insurance, because they just don't have anything to do. Because they were prepping for all these COVID patients that really basically never showed up, even in Arizona, even in Phoenix. So, and I have a good friend who's an ER doctor in Pasadena, and he said, yeah, everyone that's tested positive for the COVID, he just sent them home, say, come in if you can't breathe. I'm like, okay. So, any chance of a songwriting lesson? We can talk about that. It's so funny. For me, songwriting has really changed. My role as a songwriter has changed, but I'd be happy to talk about that. Tom Robinson, let's see. Oh. Tom, sorry. Wait, there. Yeah. Oh, somebody beat me to it. Tom asked, my nut cracked at the high E string. It's so funny because it was held for my approval, and it immediately made me think, oh, geez, dude, what are you saying? And it was like that was what YouTube was wondering itself. So the nut cracked at the first string, so right here, and asked if he wanted the same string spacing. Well, I don't know, what kind of guitar is it? Is it a wide neck like a classical, or do an exercise string? I would probably die. I think I would need Denise here just in case to administer to first aid or CPR, because I am so out of shape. I just texted my son yesterday to drive around Pasadena looking for tennis courts and see if they've got them roped off. I don't know of any tennis courts in my neighborhood, which is a bummer. Do an exercise string, you guys. What is hilarious? Yoga is good. I need to do. Okay, sorry. So, did you say what kind of guitar spacing? No, Tom. Okay, I would. I mean, if you were fine with it before, I generally wouldn't. If it was a guitar you played a lot, I mean, if I changed, I couldn't really go anywhere on the spacing on this. I couldn't go wider. Yeah, I mean, you may or narrower. But if it was a wide neck, you could maybe go a little narrower if it was easier on your hands. But I wouldn't do too much. But yeah, I've had that happen, actually. I had it happen to my mandolin. I had to get a new nut, but I did it myself. You could buy a nut yourself. That's not hard. In fact, you just a little bit of Elmer's glue. You don't want to put a lot of glue on, just enough to hold it there while you put the strings on. You don't want it, if you take all the strings off to change the strings, you don't want it to fall off. But Elmer's glue, just a little bit, I think will do, or wood glue. Your brother studied microbiology, and the first thing he told me against coronavirus. Yeah, hydroxychloroquine. I know unfortunately it became a political thing, and I have friends from one of my best friends. He's from Ecuador, and he came back, and a doctor had told him in Ecuador, said, I take hydroxychloroquine, and that's what they were doing in Ecuador. And he came here, and it was like, why are they saying don't take it? My doctor in Ecuador said take it. It's like, it's so weird. So it's become political. Oh, thank you, Bob. That Martin does sound good. I think what I'm going to do, though, to be honest, I have a vague memory. In fact, it may even say something in here. Does it say that you're supposed to use medium strings with a Martin? It's just for reference. Medium means heavy. There's basically 3 types of strings you can get for electric and for acoustic. I mean, there's all sorts of variations, but basically there's extra light, light, and medium. Yeah, and really what that means is light, medium, and heavy. Just like, it's kind of like this stupid, it's like venti. Okay, that means 20 in Italian, which is large. Grande means large, and tall means large. It's like, Starbucks, they're just messing with you. It's like, yeah, you want a tall? Ooh, I want a tall. And it's like this big. And then oh, give me a grande. And then someone's holding this, and you're like, wait, that's not. So, yeah, it's silly. So really, I feel like the neck is a little bit, and you don't have there's no truss rod adjustment in here. I think I need to put mediums on this, and I may do that because I'm getting some buzzing, and so I'm thinking mediums might bow the neck a little bit. So I think my next set of strings on this, and I think I have some lying around somewhere, is going to be mediums. But generally, I use light, not extra light. I don't like extra light; it's too thin sounding. So we'll see what happens. Just kind of hate to do it because of my main axe, but I can always go right back. Yep. Oh, yeah. Hydroxychloroquine with a Z-Pack. Exactly right. Z-Packs you can get. I think we have a Z-Pack in our fridge right now. Light nanos. Yeah, nanos are great, and the nanos have less coating. I sometimes use the Polyweb because it's more coating and they're quieter. They get messier, you get the flaky, but these are nanos, so you can hear the squeak. But the Polywebs are even quieter. So I don't mind the squeak too much within reason. Sometimes engineers will actually EQ it out and it kind of gets rid of some of the brightness, which is not good. Yeah, those are mediums, right? 13 to 56 is mediums. Oh, sorry, I missed your question. Quick. In the valley. Okay, look up Norik Renson in the valley. That's who I use. He's great, and he's in Studio City. He's pretty close to you. What year's my Martin? I think it's a 75. It's kind of that bad, one of the bad years, but I love it. Guitars get, good guitars, well-made guitars get better with age. The reason there was, well, for one thing, I think that I think this was a lefty turned into a righty. I'm not completely 100% sure. In fact, it's funny because this finish on top is not very glossy, which tells me it was probably refinished because they moved the pick guard from here to here. And the saddle was like this, and you can see where they filled it in with wood and then recut a new hole, put it there. It's also got dots on both sides of the fingerboard, which I don't know if that's standard or not. I'll have to look at some other guitars of mine. I think generally you only do it on one side. So that's what tells me this was a lefty turned into a righty, which is really weird. But that's probably why it has all these weird things going on about it. I've used it on a million records, and so, I love to write on it. It fits good in my hand, and I've never been a Martin fan. Always felt like Martin's played kind of hard, but this one actually, as soon as I picked it up, I played it and I bought it. Guilds are great. Guild 12 strings were the standard in the 70s because they're the only ones that made a decent 12 string. The worst 12 strings were the Martins. They were so hard to play. But then Taylor comes around and they make super duper easy to play 12 strings. And the Martins I don't think have truss rods. I think they basically think that and that's why they think that, I thought it said somewhere in there use medium strings. And the strings create the tension. The strings are the truss rod. But yeah, no, Martin's, no truss rod. So, I could be wrong. Maybe there's a piece of metal in there, but there's no adjustment screw anywhere. Nowhere. So, and not under there. Yep. So Martin's, my understanding is they don't have truss rods. Oh, your neck has been adjusted. Oh, yeah. Let's see. BKD. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's not standard, is it, Bruce? But you better do it on my cigar box guitar. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I can't wait to get that so we can do an unpacking. I got to order something else. I have a couple things that I want to pick up at some point, so maybe we'll get an order thing. I just sent out a video of 3 new instruments. This is one of my professional tricks that I do, not tricks, but I did a video highlighting 3 new instruments, weird instruments that I play. And just sent it. It's private, and I sent it to my composers that I work for, and I asked them also to tell me of any instruments they want me to get. Thought about maybe getting a hurdy-gurdy. There's this guy that's like a freaking genius hurdy-gurdy player. but none of the hurdy-gurdy players can figure out what he's done. And he's kind of crazy, and nobody really uses him. He doesn't really want to do session work anymore. He's a cabinet maker, and he makes plenty of money doing that he doesn't want to do it. But he toured with the Page and Plant. He toured playing hurdy-gurdy with Page and Plant. And that's the instrument, like you crank it and you play like a piano, but it sounds like a violin. It's got like, you can set up drone strings and everything. Oh yeah, Westwood Music is where I got my old Martin. The owner retired, yeah. Yeah, B Kitty. I think you're in the valley, are you not? Are you over the hill, or are you on this side of the hill? You're in the valley. So LA, Los Angeles is here, and then the valley's up here. And there's the Hollywood Hills in between. So the most expensive houses are on the hill. So if you're kind of north of Sunset and south of Ventura Boulevard, you're doing all right. I think my vision is a Bee Kitty's on Mulholland Drive at the very top. Especially if he's got three. Hey, I'm out of. Oh no, not yet. So, Denise, sorry. There's a. Oh, what do you ask in Westminster? Westminster. Where the heck is Westminster? Oh, are you talking about guitar repair? Westminster, is that Orange County? Sounds like Orange County. That's Oh, your 99 has a trust fund. Okay, well maybe that's a new thing. Interesting. Okay, so that may be a new thing. Old ones don't have it, and the new ones do. I am gonna kind of go to mediums on this guitar and see what it does to the action. I think it'll sound better in a lot of ways, and I'm gonna be bummed if it does, because I like how easy it plays. It's gonna be a little harder to play, but we'll see what happens. I should film it. Let's see what chord is played when we strum all strict E minor sus7 sus4. Yeah, or you could call it E minor 711. That's a good E minor 711 is probably what I would call it. That's a good bar trick. If you want to say, "Oh, do you play guitar?" "Oh no, I can't play guitar." "I bet you can play an E minor 711 chord." And you're like, "Oh no, there's no way." "I bet you $1. I bet you a drink you can play an E minor 711 chord." And by drink, I mean, of course, Starbucks. Of course, Starbucks. And so we just do that. So that's the scale for today. I love how you guys think I need to do an exercise channel. It's just because I'm sitting here pushing my muscles out like that. My dad was in great shape. My dad was a really big athlete. I mean, he lettered in track, baseball, and football in high school. He got drafted in 1949, he got drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals to play baseball. But that was playing in minor leagues, and it didn't pay anything, and so he went to college instead. But I think he really would have liked to have a son that played baseball or football, although he's thrilled with what I do. He was very thrilled. In fact, I was glad that I had finally at 48, 9 years old, played with someone whose name is recognizable. And before he passed away, I was working with Bieber. In fact, I sent him a record that I played on, the Bieber record. I forget what it was. I think it may have been the Christmas album, or let's see. That wouldn't have been Yellow Raincoat, because that was 2012 or 13 after my dad passed away. But I had played on, and I sent it to him because my name was on the album and everything. And so it was like first time a big artist I worked with, first big artist I'd ever worked with. And he gets the album next. This old lady, his next door neighbor, this grandma, she goes, "Oh, Justin Bieber, I love him." And she was like, "You do?" "Oh, my granddaughters just think he's a dream." And then Dad gets home, and on the Today Show, Justin Bieber was doing a outdoor concert. It was like 1 million girls there, and my dad was like, "Okay, so this is a real person." So it was finally, I was glad, because my dad really, really supported all three of us in our artistic endeavors, because my older sister's a painter, my younger sister's a fashion designer, and we all, he was very proud of that. Whereas, hey, Pepper, the heck? It's not, what time is it? I'm still going, can you believe it? Social distancing. Well, I'm practicing social distancing, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing some of my own minor stuff. But the thing I had Norik do was make my ukulele fretless. I couldn't do that myself. Oh, dang it! I hate having sinus headaches. Boy, go to Starbucks and have them add a shot, and then take sinus. If you serious sinus, you probably have sinus aspirin, but I just have to go and sinus headache. I'm thinking of migraine. Yeah, I don't know if Starbucks helps with a sinus headache. So anyway, you guys, I'm gonna sign out. And you're gonna have to all say goodbye to each other because I'm gonna sign out. But here's the crazy thing: I don't have a button to sign out. I do not have stream set. I do not have. There's no end stream. Where's the end stream button on this? It is not here. So I'm gonna end stream on the OBS. It's so weird. It's just not there. Electric 5-string mandolin. I have a Kentucky model. No, I have not played one of those. Is that the brand name Kentucky? Electric 5-string mandolin. I wouldn't mind having a 5-string mandolin. Obviously, it's a lower string, so it's like a mandola and a mandolin combined. So in other words, I would have a low C. That would come in real handy for some of my composers, but I think it would be really hard for me to do anything like bluegrassy or anything like that. Why am I getting that? Okay. And then I've got messages here. What's this? Okay. All right. Well, I should get going, but I'm going to have to log off. So weird. It's also weird that my stream, the whole thing started without me actually starting it. Skip ahead to live broadcast. Okay. Edit. Save. Enable modification. Heck yeah. I don't see. The button is gone. The button was gone to start the stream too. So I'm going to have to find out from YouTube. But it's so funny because I started my stream and I was like, I hope I didn't pick my nose or something. It was like I was programming piano to have the jam track. So anyway, Pepper, we learned a new scale and we probably spent 5 minutes on it and the rest of the time talking. So. Oh, interesting. Sorry. Pepper's addicted. Yes, you told me about the matcha lemonade with 1 pump of pineapple ginger syrup. That's crazy. It's too weird for me. Just give me coffee. All right. So I'm going to stop streaming here at the OBS software, and we'll see what happens. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later.